Welcome to the Goddard Report. Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is David Chesney, White Rock, BC City Councillor and editor of the White Rock Sun. Welcome to the show, David.
Well, thank you very much, Jim. Nice to be back with you.
And how did the last community engagement meeting of the year go?
Well, it went very well. We had, again, a capacity crowd at the White Rock Library, and as I think I've mentioned here in the past, it started, the majority of the first group of wave of people that attended were people that were terribly frustrated and mad at the city, and there's still some evidence of that, but now we're getting more down to where people are rolling their arms up, or rolling their sleeves up, and saying, heck, maybe we can make a change here. So I welcome the positivity. We've got a pretty big, we're at a crossroads, to say the least, in White Rock with development. A large number of high-rise projects are coming onto the boards here, and the community is, somewhat divided. People are saying, this is not why I moved to White Rock. I'm willing to pay higher taxes than across the road in Surrey to live in a quaint seaside community. I didn't want to move to Metro Town, and that's why I chose White Rock, and there's more and more of these condo developments are starting to pop up. People are starting to become concerned that their lifestyle may negatively be impacted. So, the people that are engaged socially and actively are now being joined by sort of the great unwashed that are kind of waking up and rubbing their eyes and stepping out into the harsh light of the day and going, hey, what's going on over there?
Well, do they feel that they can do anything once the developers seem to take control of City Hall?
Well, you know what? That could be decided tonight. We have a big public hearing on exactly that. There's 3 high-rise developments that are coming before council, all outside of the designated town center area at a time that the city is reviewing its official community plan, which it has to do by law. But that won't be complete till probably the summer of 2016 or later. And as a result of that, the city is saying the developers are they're not willing to sit back and wait till we finish the process. So here we go. And if they can get enough votes...
Well, who is calling the shots here, the city or the developers?
Well, it could be a combination of both.
Well, saying they won't wait. Where are they going to go someplace else? It's not like there's some other seaside resort town to go to.
Well, the developer will definitely... you're right. This is an incredibly attractive, very unique opportunity in the Lower Mainland. There's nothing... east of Vancouver that affords such a spectacular ocean view and an already fully functioning seaside community. So it's a prime piece of real estate. The difficulty, though, Jim, is finding the type of mix of people that want to move into high-rise condos in White Rock. It's not young couples or people starting out with young families. We have no work here. The nearest place to work would be Surrey, which has some industry certainly along the Fraser River, but the vast majority of the people that are rolling out of town here on the buses in the morning are heading to downtown Vancouver, and that can be an hour and 15 each way, so 2.5 hours out of your day every day is not really appealing to a lot of young people. So what I'm saying is that it's mainly right now it seems to me the type of developments and the type of projects that are selling here, judging by past experience, are high-end for retiring people. People that have sold their home for a couple $1 million. They don't want to move into a 900-square-foot condo, so they want luxury, the lap of luxury, and I can't blame them. They'd like to have an ocean view. They'd like to have a cement building with a wave pool and all the other amenities, rooftop gardens. Some of the developments that have been approved, I think, will be spectacularly beautiful, and the ones that are proposed look to be nice developments, but I've stressed time and time again, I will stick to the official community plan. That was an election campaign promise, and I'm not budging. I'm not budging one single bit. And, it's caused some consternation between me and my fellow councillors, as is pretty well documented. But I'm there to represent the people of White Rock, and I will continue to do that. And I'm just thrilled that that we are having such a good turnout, and there were a number of new faces this past Saturday at the community conversation, which, I welcome. I think that, it's not going to happen overnight. I knew it wasn't going to happen overnight, and it's taken 8 months, and as we go into the new year, I think it's just going to be bigger and better. And again, I hope that we see that more communities around the area have embraced this type of engagement with their community at all levels of government. I think a lot of people have, seen that there's a breath of fresh air in Ottawa with the Trudeau government. Time will tell, but boy, they're knocking down those campaign promises pretty darn fast. Sure, there was 350 or plus, but they have got to work right away and started knocking them down. So let's just hope that there's a wind of change blowing.
Well, I think that was the whole premise of his election, wasn't it? Is that, okay, you've made some great promises, you've been elected on them. How fast can you follow up on them? I haven't seen anybody follow up on so many promises so fast ever.
No, neither have I, to be very honest. And, the detractors are out there, and that's what they are. They're paid to be detractors. They are the loyal opposition, and they came out swinging this morning with Rona Ambrose. And, of course, they're going to attack, Trudeau. But I think, and I think if we could see something like this at the provincial level in British Columbia, I think we'd be a whole lot better off. We need to have politicians that are willing to engage with the community at all and any level they possibly can, even if it's something as simple as replying to an email.
Do you keep your emails in White Rock?
Do I personally keep them?
Well,
you're
City
alluding
Council.
to the fact that the triple delete in Victoria.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, even if you triple delete, anybody with half a brain knows that those are on a server somewhere, so they're not gone. You can hit triple delete all you want; they're still there somewhere. And if a person spends the time, effort, and energy and picks up the cost, you can retrieve them all.
Well, I'm sure the RCMP has the technology to do it, and now they're involved.
Yes, well, excellent. But I mean,
it's the complete opposite of what you're trying to do, David, which is, to have people engage, communicate, find out what's going on, letting them know what kind of influence they can have or not have, but at least communicate. And here, we find out the Premier doesn't even have a copy of the speech she gave about replacing the tunnel with a bridge.
Yeah. I know it. But, you're probably as jaded as I, maybe even more jaded from your years of news gathering, but does this really come as a surprise to anybody? This has been going on since the beginning of time. Talk about the proverbial nailing Jell-O to the wall. Trying to pin anybody at any level of government down on something is absolutely amazing how reticent they are to be officially on record.
Well, isn't that why they got elected?
Well,
you got elected to go and do things, so there you are. There's got to be a record of it. And how can other people follow up on your ideas and promises if there isn't communication about it?
Well, I think it's just it's. I don't think it will come as an initial of council. I think it has to come the same way as it did with me as a single initiative. And fortunately, off and on, I've always had the support of my fellow councillor Helen Fathers, but just given her time and schedule and raising a young family and that, she's not able to always attend on Saturday. But I don't think it will. I don't think you'll ever see the city of Surrey saying, "Hey, we'd like to. We're going to be down at the local hall on Saturday. Come on by and see how we're doing."
Is it because once people get elected? I mean, I'm telling you, I've gone to so many public hearings, and the politicians sitting there waiting to hear the public, you can see them roll their eyes. And if they're not doing it physically, they're doing it mentally. Here come, the unwashed masses again. God, why do we have to put up with it?
Well, as I've mentioned before, they're cast aside here in White Rock by many of the senior staff and some of my fellow councillors as they're the usual suspects, and I just think that's a terribly derogatory term to use for people that are actively engaged. I don't care what their motivation is. Fact is, they put their coat on and came down to watch council and make notes and ask questions. Unfortunately, we got rid of question periods, so their options of being able to answer or ask questions is very limited these days. But no, I think that anybody that is for whatever their motivation is, I'll accept the fact that they've gone to the trouble to become engaged. And, you know, I think I really do believe more and more people, shall we say, the great unwashed, are now starting to, as I said at the offset, are starting to wake up and step out into the cold light of the day and go, well, hang on a minute. This is not the White Rock that I moved to. And, of course, we have such a large population of seniors here. As these developments, if these massive developments and high-rises continue, they will gobble up a tremendous inventory of rental apartments that we have on the hillside in White Rock, you know. And as a result of that, the seniors will be, you know, pushed aside and cast adrift, and good luck going to find somewhere else to live at your late stage of life.
Well, that's what's happening in Burnaby is all the 3-story walk-up apartments that are relatively affordable are being replaced by giant high-rises that cost a fortune. And there's now a movement to try to get some control over that. But I know to a city planner, it must look terrific to have these giant golden towers with their landscaped lands about them. It looks terrific on a map or when you do a little 3D display. But what about the folks that you're displacing? Where are they supposed to go?
Well, exactly, and somebody brought that topic up on Saturday morning. I didn't have a chance yet to go onto the Vancouver Sun site and have a look at that, but somebody brought that they'd read that article before they came to the community conversation, and exactly the same thing is happening here in White Rock. And I guess one could say, you know, fair market value. I don't know. Do we don't guarantee anybody a view in White Rock, though some would like to think that they're guaranteed a view. But we also don't guarantee that, that the renters, which is, 50%, over 50% in White Rock of the residents are renters. And I think that number is pretty well equal across the board. And they're left out of the equation all the time. They're never, ever included into the conversation.
Yeah, it's like renters are second-class citizens.
Yes.
We'll have more with David Chesney right after the break.
See singing impressionist Andre Philippe Gagnon.
And I think to myself.
In Oliver, December 29th. In Kelowna, December 30th. Buy online and save at ontourtickets.com. Unbelievable harmonies, spectacular performance, the ultimate tribute to the Everly Brothers and Simon and Garfunkel. Bird Dog and the Vintage Electric Band, Saturday, January 9th at the Alex Goulden Hall. Buy online and save at ontourtickets.com.
In Goddard we trust.
Welcome back. We're speaking with David Chesney. David, you said when you had the meeting of the BC Union of Municipalities that other people were looking at more community engagement. Has anybody contacted you to say that's what they're doing?
Not yet. Sometimes people are, overwhelmed with, there's so many ideas put forth at the UBCM, and this is my first UBCM, so I can't speak from experience, but it was overwhelming, the number of topics that were covered. There were a few people that at the time expressed a little bit of interest. I've got my plate full here. Will I become the Johnny Appleseed of community conversations at the civic level? Perhaps in another year or two. I have every intention of continuing these. So, somewhere down the road, I may be able to find the time, effort, and energy to cast this and spread it further adrift across the different cities and communities in our province, but I simply don't have the time and effort and the energy right now to be able to do that. But I hope that people will. I think there's enough people out there, as I mentioned before. This past civic election, over 50% of all the people elected were brand new members like myself. So that's got to mean that we're going to see some new, fresh ideas coming into the mix.
Yes, and a lot of people said that they were tired of the status quo. And I think with modern technology, with so many different ways to keep in contact with people, that folks have a chance to have more community engagement, and hopefully they don't just use it to throw mud at each other.
Unfortunately, the many platforms of social media, from Twitter to Facebook to whatever, emails, those are all very well and fine. But let me tell you, I see in real time, in real life, sitting down with your friends and neighbors in a meeting atmosphere like the community conversation. It's incredibly productive. People leave there, and I know that they're going home and talking to their neighbors and encouraging them to come to the next meeting or to come to a meeting of White Rock Council. As I say, I don't want to negate all the technological ways of communicating. Nothing compares to face-to-face.
And when it comes to real estate, a very well-known real estate agent in White Rock tells me the one thing she can't find are single-family homes to sell. That's what she says is the demand. It's not for condos. That's what people want. They want a quaint community experience.
Well, we don't need to identify who the realtor is, but I would question that statement. She may have a difficulty, or realtors may be finding a difficulty finding single-family dwellings that they can sell that will be bulldozed and have a super home, massive super monster house built on that piece of property. People are not buying those quaint little 1960s two-bedroom bungalows to fix them up and maintain them and plant a garden and maybe put a fence up. No, that's not happening. They're buying those homes so that they can just absolutely level them and build monster houses, which is another problem that we in White Rock and other areas are going to have to start to address.
Well, they certainly put a strain on your civic resources, water, sewer, and so on.
Well, exactly, and we're right in the middle of very long, protracted negotiations to reacquire our water from the City of Edmonton, subsidiary of EPCOR, and that's proving to be a little more arduous than we would have thought it was going to take. But you're right, our hospital, the Peace Arch Hospital, for so many years, people in Surrey, and in particular North Surrey, I don't know whether they thought it was a private hospital in White Rock, but in the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, the emergency traffic has literally doubled because people have now figured out, hey, hang on a minute. Hey, we can go down to the Peace Arch Hospital in White Rock and not have to sit here for 8 hours at the Surrey Memorial. So our hospital is already now starting to max out, something incredible, and I heard something on the background in the news this morning. Not a lot. How many young girls? Of course, I don't know what your social realm is, but I don't know any friends of mine whose daughters are going into the nursing field. And as we've sort of beat before here, where are you going to find a mechanic or an electrician or a plumber in 10 or 15, 20 years? Nobody wants to go into the trades, and it appears quite obvious that the BC Nurses Union is now crying, the sky is falling. We need nurses, and we need them now.
Well, they've been making that call for years and years, and I don't think the government listens. Or they'll say we've added another 40 seats, but the thing is we need another 900 nurses a year.
Right. How we get that, I'm not sure. As I say, I
well, there's only so many Filipino nurses to go around,
Well,
that's the way they look at it. We'll just wait for somebody else to make the nurses, and then we'll bring them in.
Well, I think that's rather short-sighted.
Well, as the population gets older, we're going to need more nurses just to look after people like you and me.
Oh, the baby boomers, we're coming crashing ashore like a tsunami wave, and at every level, from care homes to support services. It's not there, and it's not going to be there when we all get there. We're all arriving at the same time, and there'll be no room at the end, I'll tell you that.
Well, that's why, I'm in favor of immigration to Canada. It's going to be one of the things that's always kept this country going. And you take a look at a place like Japan that doesn't have immigration. They are slowly dying off. Literally.
Yeah.
You need the young people, the young ideas, and the young energy to keep stuff going. But you were saying these developments in Surrey aren't there to bring in younger people. It's just to bring in a different class of senior citizen.
Well, I think up in Surrey, just to correct you, in Surrey there are a lot of pop-ups, subdivisions, with row housing slammed up against each other and 5 feet back from the curb, that are incredibly popular. We don't have the land here in White Rock. Land is definitely at a bonus here, so we're not going to see those kind of subdivision developments. Surrey seems to be bustling with those. I can't count the number of times I'll drive down a road that I haven't been down for 6 months, and I'll have to stop and pull the car over and go, my goodness, when did this happen? Because they're literally just pop up pop-up neighborhoods. We don't have that in White Rock, and as I say, and it's mainly due to the fact that we're very limited in land. We could never accommodate that kind of growth. So that's why the White Rock growth that I see as high-end condos, the retired couples that want to lock up the place and go to Phoenix or Palm Springs for 3 or 4 months every year and come back and to live in the lap of luxury and hopefully have a spectacular ocean view. I don't disagree with that. All that I'm saying is that when the official community plan is redone, if the community says absolutely spread the town center all the way out to such and such street and such street and move it down, then that's the wish of the community. We live in a democracy. But as I said at the offset, I'm a hard ass when it comes to the official community plan. I promised I will stick to it. I will stick to it.
David, thanks a lot for chatting with us, and I hope the new year brings lots of bright new things for you that don't disturb people.
Well, Jim, it's been a pleasure talking with you, and I very much want to thank you for affording me the opportunity to put this out on the Ethernet, and it will find a life of its own. To you and your family and to everyone listening, I wish you all a Merry Christmas, and God bless, and never take life for granted. It's called the present because it is a gift. Embrace it and have a wonderful, wonderful year.
Thanks a lot, David. You're listening to the Goddard Report on TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Find us on Twitter at TalkDigitalNet. Our popular YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Comments about the show can be emailed to info@HowStreet.com. I'm Jim Goddard.
Comments made on the Goddard Report and TalkDigitalNetwork.com are an expression of opinion only. The Goddard Report is available online and mobile at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. The Goddard Report is a production of How Street Media Incorporated.